So today we start with chapter 4. The name of the chapter is Timeline and Sources of History. This is of class 6. We are going to learn about how do we measure historical time, how can various sources help to understand history, and what did early humans do. Now, this is the basic foundation which is happening in class 6. So the book is written for the student of class 6. But as we are UPSC aspirant, we are going through it to understand that what exactly are the information given. So hence, my way of it is not exactly teaching or lecturing. I'm just kind of summarizing things over there so that when you read through it, you are faster making a foundation for yourself. Now, in this chapter, what they have shown is beautifully on the timeline of Earth, timeline of all the evolution, and what we call it as history of Earth. Now, there's a storyline, there's a timeline. So here it shows clearly that around 4.54 billion years ago, the Earth was formed, and humans came around 3 lakh years ago. So there's a whole evolution pattern which you can understand if there is a question like sequence of evolution which happened, where were corals before crocodiles or how it is cells, corals. So you can see the sequence of uh, the like from Earth, then first cell, then atmospheric oxygen happened, then bacteria came, then sponges and fungi happened, then corals came, then fish vertebrates came, then insects and amphibians, then sharks, then 300 million years ago reptiles, dinosaurs came, then birds came, then mammals came, then flowers and bees came, and then around 10 million years ago, primates came, then 1 million years ago, fire was formed or invented. 3 lakh years ago, Homo sapiens came, and around 6,500 years ago, writing was evolved. Now, to understand the history of Earth, there are certain job roles or certain studies. One is called geologist. They study the physical feature of Earth, like the soil, stones, hills, mountains. Then paleontologist, they study the fossil. Anthropologist, they study the human societies. Archaeologist, they study by digging up the remains of the people, plant, and animals left behind, such as tools, pots, beads, figurine, toys, bones, animal, humans, burnt grain, part of houses or bricks. So how? So this is these studies come together, and then historians weave a timeline or story about the history of that particular subject, era, topic. How is timeline measured? So we have to understand that uh, Gregorian calendar. Now, what we follow is called Gregorian calendar, and it is like while all the other religions have their own calendar, but one standard character which we see across when we celebrate New Year's and everything is called Gregorian calendar. And in that calendar, one beautiful thing is that it's like a timeline. So birth of Jesus is considered as the central point, and after that, it's the middle point, like a timeline. It is the 0 point, and then after that, anything which is till present time is called as common era. C. Before it was called as Anno Domini AD, but now it is called as common era. And anything before the birth of Jesus is called as BCE, before common era. Earlier it was called as BC or before Christ. Now, one beautiful thing about this calendar is that there is no zeroth year. It is one, everything starts with 1 AD or 1 CE, and then you go back 1 BCE. So when we have to calculate that which exact year somebody is born. So you have to deduct minus 1 year. That you have to remember. You see the chart over here, you can actually go through that also. So that is a good, beautiful timeline which shows till present era what who is born when and that thing which is there in the book when Buddha is born before Jesus Christ. And this is called as timeline. Now this also you need to understand that every 100 year is called as a century, 1,000 year is called as millennium. So these are certain terminologies when writing, you have to use, which is mentioned in the textbooks or books as well. So how or from where do we know about the sources of history? So it is like a investigation, like where are the clues? So what are the studies involved in it? So first source is archaeological sources. So inscription, there will be some manuscripts or some copper plate or some coins or structures. You see the monuments, old monuments or some structure which is broken now, mounds or excavations, human, animal and plant remains, tools and weapons, figurine ornament, pottery, toys, habitation, burials. These become sources of archaeology sources. And artistic sources through paintings, through sculptures, through panels. They realize, okay, that time era is drawn, that time timing is born, like that. Through literary sources. Now, what is literary sources? One is Indian literature. Now, Vedas and all the Shastra which are written, we would call it as the oldest literature, some of the oldest literature. Then poems and plays, historical texts, collection of stories, scientific and technological texts. So they also give a resource. Then there are certain foreign accounts, travelogues, historical chronicles. The foreign accounts are like somebody of that era, somebody has come to visit the Indian civilization. So from China, somebody had come. He has written about that of that era, what he has seen. So we will learn about that. These are certain resources, and there are oral resources like genealogy, folklore, like stories which come, like that. So all these sources are considered before stitching or weaving a historical text or documentation. Then we also understand that the beginning of human history or Homo sapiens, what we call, is around 3 lakh years ago. And so you will see that from caveman to slowly they started becoming, invention of fire happened, they started becoming agriculturists, and whatever the crops they grew, and there was a community living. They were called living in a small hamlet. Slowly, the small hamlet grew into village. They started exchanging between, trade and relation and communication started between village, and that is how the welfare centric age started between each other. Remember, when you think of all this, imagine those times did not have any modern tool. There are all jungles, all you know dangerous animals. So it was not such a convenient era. So you have to understand that why it took time between relation between two hamlets to know each other, why there was exchange, why was there any money or coin, or it was barter exchange. So these are certain things much which can help you to become more curious about your history. So uh, summarizing the chapter, I would say. So we understood the concept of time measurement, historical time, and using of calendars. That most societies use this Gregorian calendar, which is widely used today, and this is considered like birth of Jesus is one of the critical points over there. Dates before this are marked as before Common Era, and dates after are marked as Common Era. See, there is no zero here, so the Gregorian calendar does not include a year zero. For example, the year immediately before one common era is one before common era. This affect calculation involving dates spanning before calculation era and Common Era. For example, if you have to calculate number of years between 560 BC and 2024 BC, 2024 CE, then first convert BC to a positive integer and add the common this thing, that is 560 plus 2024. So total how many years? 2584 years, and then deduct 1 year, 2583 years. Timelines are visual representation that help track the sequence of historical events. They show events in chronological order and help illustrate how historical periods relate to one another. Centuries and millennium. Century is a period of 100 years, and the 21st century CE runs from 2001 to 2100 years. Centuries before Common Era are calculated from 1 BCE going backward. So the 3rd century BCE includes the year 300 BCE to 201 BCE. I repeat again, the 3rd century BCE will include the year 300 BCE to 201 BCE. Millennium, a period of 1,000 years. The 3rd millennium CE spans from 2001 CE to 3000 CE. Similarly, if we calculate for first millennium BCE, it will include 1 BCE to 1000 BCE. Now, typical sources of history are archaeological sources, that is, excavation, artifacts such as pottery, tools, and remaining found in digs, inscriptions, written records on stones, metal plates, and other durable materials, artistic sources like paintings, sculptures, and other form of art that depict historical events or daily life. Literary sources are historical texts, books, and documents that record historical events and narratives. Religious texts, including scriptures like Vedas, Itihasas, which provide insights into ancient beliefs and practices. Folklore, oral stories passed down through generations, offering cultural insights. So scientific studies are like from genetics, studies of ancient DNA can reveal information about the past population. Climatology research on the past climates also help to understand human adaptation and settlements pattern. Chemistry analysis of materials from excavations can provide information about ancient technologies and diets. Historians and other professions, historians analyze and interpret historical data. Archaeologists conduct excavations and study material culture. Epigraphists study inscription to decipher and understand ancient scripts. Anthropologists examine culture and social aspect of human society. Challenges in history, conflicting evidence, different sources may provide contradictory information, requiring careful analysis and cross-referencing. Incomplete records. Some historical records may be missing or damaged, leading to gaps in understanding. Early human history. So they were hunter-gatherer societies. Early humans were nomadic, relying on hunting and gathering for sustenance. They lived in temporary shelters and used basic tools and fire. Rock paintings. Early art forms depict hunting scenes, daily life, and rituals. These paintings provide insights into the lives and beliefs of early humans. So whatever was there surrounding that time, that was depicted in their art. Agriculture. Now, agriculture developed around 12,000 years ago, and the climate after the ice age. So we will understand more about it when we go ahead. So human began settling down and cultivating crops. This led to domestication of animals and development of more permanent settlements. Social changes. As communities grew, social structure became more complex with roles and leadership emerging. Village began to form, eventually leading to towns and cities. Technological advances like pottery, early advancements include pottery for storage and cooking, metallurgy, the use of metals like copper and iron marked significant technological process. So this is the summary of the chapter. Thank you.